Hi there, gang, and welcome to episode 17 of the OSF TV show. So glad you could join us. Andrew's here with me, and we've got a guest. We've got a guest host with us today. Nicole was not able to attend. She is out of state at a photo shoot. She is a professional photographer, so we have brought a Sally in, or she had Sally step in to fill in for her. But because we're good people, we wanted to include Nicole as well. So we can we throw her in on? There we go. So there, she's here in spirit. So just because we see it, I got it set up just right. She looks like she's actually engaged with what's going on.
How you doing today?
We should have had somebody behind the
Take
screen.
your time.
I'm good, thank you, and then we'd be great. Hey, we got a great show today. I'm so excited. I got my buddy Shane is here from Smiling Dog Entertainment. He's based out of Des Moines. We're going to talk a whole bunch about what he does, what his business does, and even what's coming in the future with them. They've got, it's fantastic. I have been stalking Shane to be on this show since we started, and he was one of the first people that I talked to our Stress Free about in general years ago at a wedding show. So this to me is an exciting show, and you're going to love it because he is, in my opinion, truly one of the best in the state at what they do, and you will agree with me by the end of this conversation. First things first, though, very important things coming up. Clock is ticking down to November 20th at the Waterloo Convention Center. We are having our first Our Stress Free Wedding Vendor Exclusive wedding show. What does that mean to you? That means that every vendor that's going to be at this show is part of the Our Stress Free Wedding family. And that's important. Why? Because everybody who is on this platform, everyone that you talk to, any vendor that you look at on our vendor listing has been carefully vetted for quality, for attention to detail, for their reviews, for how they approach your big day. We are looking for like-minded people. And rule number one in our world has always been, what the couple wants, the couple gets. And it is so important, and so, honestly, it's rare to find those kind of gems, right? I mean,
Yeah.
You've been around long enough to know. I mean, substandard DJs, substandard photographers, a substandard venue. These are the people that can make or break your big day. And if you find someone, they had a really nice Facebook page, or, they had a really nice listing on The Knot. Sure.
Anyone at wedding shows can put up, a good face, or hey, here's 3 or 4 of my best photos. And
Right. Out of thousands. Exactly. This is my wedding show tie. It's the only tie I got. You don't know. And that's one of the biggest mysteries. That's one of the biggest challenges that we understand you're facing as you plan your big day. I mean, this is something that is always, I've said this, I think, at every show, but it still amazes me. In the 30-odd years that I have been doing this for a living, it amazes me that from the day you get engaged, suddenly, you and your fiance have to become experts in planning what is, in essence, the biggest day of your lives to date. It's huge, and there's so many moving parts, and there's so many moving pieces, and there's so many factors that go into that, and you get all the emotions. We understand that, which is why we created OurStressFreeWedding.com, because what we're doing here is we're trying to take some of that mystery out of finding the right wedding professionals for your big day. If you have the right venue, if you have the right DJ, the right photo booth, the right caterer, the right photographer, if you have people all of that same mindset, where they're putting your needs ahead of everything else. Their only goal is to make your big day the day you're going to remember for the rest of your life, and you're going to look back and you're going to smile on it, right? And here's the risk, is that if you have really substandard or crappy vendors, crappy DJ, you're still going to look back on it and you're going to remember that for the rest of your life. And that's not a memory that you want to have. Right. In the wedding business, we on our side, the vendors, we got one opportunity to get it right. There is never a wedding where we can say, we didn't have any of your songs as the DJ, but hey,
shoot,
we will tomorrow. Let's do it tomorrow. Right? You don't get a second opportunity to get it right if you're in the wedding industry. So at OurStressFreeWedding.com, every wedding professional that's on the platform has that attention to detail. We brought on a new photographer today. She's based out of Waterloo, and I'm so excited to have her. Marissa is her name, and she's going to be on the show. We've got her scheduled to coming up here in a few weeks. But the first thing she said is like, "Oh my God, I can't believe it took me this long to get on board with you guys." I'm like, yes,
We've heard that a few times, actually.
It's gaining momentum, which I think is exciting. You know, we're the first to admit, you know, when it comes to planning platforms, we're the new kids, right? We're the new guys out here. You know, you got Wedding Wire and you got The Knot. That's perfectly fine. They're a big billion-dollar company. Here's where you get the big departure between the two. One of the biggest, in my opinion, I think the biggest change. There's two of them. One is that on ourstressfreewedding.com, you cannot just go to the platform as a vendor and sign up and be part of it. We do that vetting. We do that background checks. Well, not background check sounds a little harsh, but you know, we do the research. We do background checks. Talk to us about that speeding ticket you had. No. You know, but we do the research. We get to know every vendor that's on the platform. We have conversations with them. We invite them on shows like Shane's going to be. You know, it's stuff like that. We know who we're talking to, so you know you can rely on them. Right? The other big difference is that no one on the platform can buy their way to the top. If you have been at ourstressfreewedding.com before and you go to the vendor page, or if you're on there now, you know, if you want to dual screen this, check this out. Go to the vendor page, hit refresh, and you will see the order reorder itself in any of those categories. We've designed it so all of our vendors are seen on a rotating basis. And we're doing that because we don't want anybody paying to be the top. If you go to Wedding Wire, you go to The Knot, and you see those top listed vendors, it's because they're paying to be the top listed vendors. And thank you to Google and everybody else where it's been ingrained in our mind, well, if they're in the top 5, they must be the best.
Well, some of them don't even make sense, though. Like, I searched for a venue in Middle Iowa once, and a venue in Illinois was listed on, ahead of them.
I believe it.
I'm like, that's like 3 or 4 hours away. Why is this here?
Or if you look closely, like if you look at reviews, there is so many vendors on their platform that will be listed 1, 2, 3, or 5, somewhere, let's say even the top 10, and there are vendors below them with higher ratings, with more reviews, with more positive reviews. They've got the 4.5 stars as opposed to the guy above them who's got 3.5 stars, but he's listed in the top 5. Why? Because they're paying to be there, and they're kind of counting on the fact that you're just going to look at it and go, well, if they're at the top, they're obviously the best. That is not the case. It is with us, though. If you come and you look at the vendors on ourstressfreewedding.com, any vendor you look at has been carefully checked over, has been carefully picked. It really is. It even says on the platform to apply with us, and that's what the wedding professionals are doing, is they're applying to work with us. I've been in the business for 34 years. I'm pretty good at what I do, and between Andrew and Nicole and the team at Our Stress Free Wedding, we're really good at digging into what a vendor's heart is about their big day, and that to us is infinitely more important. Right? I mean, it's not, oh, you've got really cool equipment. It's more, you really truly care about your client's needs. And that's the biggest part. So all of this circles back to the wedding show on November 20th at the Waterloo Convention Center. So every wedding professional that you're going to see at this show is part of the platform. So we have eliminated that, gosh, I hope they don't suck factor. And now it's a matter of finding the one that fits you best. Like, for example, I own Ultimate Entertainment. We're one of the largest DJ services in the state. We do a lot of weddings. We might not be for you. Maybe you're looking for something with a little bit more flash or a certain kind of style or a certain kind of personality. It may not fit with what we do, but there are other DJs at ourstressfreewedding.com, even in our market, that have other approaches, have other styles. They're equally as good when it comes to client care and professionalism and the details that are important to make your day great. That's what you're going to have at that wedding show, is the ability to know that you don't have to worry whether or not they're going to show up or whether or not they're, they can actually practice what they preach. That's all taken care of. Now it's what fits you best, what's most comfortable for you. The show is 100% free to you. If you are planning your big day, you are welcome to come down. There is no charge charge to get in. If you see a strange guy out in the parking lot waving tickets, that's Andrew. It's only because he's drunk. I'm kidding. He probably won't be drunk, but he still might be doing that. So you come to the show. It's going to be awesome. We'll have a lot more information on it as we get closer to it. It's going to be. I'm so excited. I really am. I can't wait for it to get started on this whole thing. It's going to be great. What else we got coming up? What am I missing?
I don't know.
Ooh, TikTok.
Oh, the TikToks.
we're getting into the TikToks. We're learning on that, and we're coming up with some content for that. What we're gonna do with the TikToks account is it's TikTok. So
Singular tick.
I know
You're angering like the
everybody under the age of 30,
That's how you do it. You put a the in front of it and an S on the end.
and that shows how old I truly
You're
am.
on the Facebooks, the YouTubes. Catch us on the YouTubes.
You should tune in. Just turn your channel to channel 3. Shane knows what I mean, right?
I know what you mean.
Got to put it on channel 3, and then you can get the internets. It's awesome.
We'll insert that dial tone sound.
But what we want to do with the TikTok account is we're kind of planning out light and stupid. Just something fun to watch. You've got enough stress going on planning your big day. Catch us on TikTok, and hopefully we'll be funny.
We'll see.
No pressure, but hopefully we'll be funny. All right, enough. Let's move on to something much, much more important. I have got my good buddy Shane here from Smiling Dog Entertainment. Shane, you're on screen finally. How you doing, brother?
Good. How are you, Sean?
I am wonderful. Seriously, like I said at the top of the show, I have been stalking you. There's proof. We can look back in our messaging. Shane, are you ready to come on the show? No, Sean, I'm super, super busy. Shane, are you ready to come on the show? No, Sean, I'm super, super busy. And super, super busy is a good excuse. Right?
It is a good excuse.
I got the restraining order papers right here. So.
Sometimes it's nice to be stalked, however.
Right. Thank you.
So happy that we finally were able to find some time to get on the show with you.
I am too, dude. And seriously, I'm actually doubly surprised that you were willing to drive all the way up to our part of the world, because you are based down around Des Moines.
We are, but we actually do quite a bit of business here in the Cedar Falls area.
You guys are everywhere.
It's not too much of a drive. I mean, we do have a large service area. We have a 200-mile service area, anywhere 200 miles within Des Moines. So we cover the whole state of Iowa, into Nebraska, into southern Minnesota and Wisconsin, into western Illinois,
awesome.
Northern Missouri. So traveling for us is kind of part of the business.
So the main thing that you do, at least when we first met, and maybe this has evolved over time, but primarily you're known for your photo booths.
Yes.
Right. And so let's start with that, and we'll get into I know like decorations and the letters, and there's so many other awesome things. But let's talk about the photo booth. So how did you start in all of this? How did you fall into the wedding business, or the photo booth business for that matter?
I moved to Des Moines 9 years ago to take a job with a nonprofit, and the CEO that hired me left shortly after I started. And I applied to be the CEO and did not get the position, and the new CEO wanted his own executive team. So, as I like to say, I was given an opportunity to explore other opportunities. So I have...
That's a very optimistic way to put things. I like that.
It is. It's a good spin, isn't it?
Right, it's very, absolutely.
Yeah. So it plays a lot better than saying that you got fired.
Well, yeah, that's right.
So I had... I've been toying with photography off and on since I was a freshman in high school and took my first photography class, and have always wanted to be a professional photographer. And I didn't have the experience with shooting people and posing people and lighting people. So I started taking classes at DMAC for their photography diploma program. And lo and behold, you were talking about Google earlier and all the things that Google does, but Google stalks you across the internet as well, as does Facebook and the Facebooks and the TikToks and
they're always listening.
all those other. So shortly after I started taking classes at DMAC, I started getting these ads on Facebook for photo booths.
Okay.
And so I started looking into that and thinking that maybe if I got a photo booth and started doing photo booth rentals, I could introduce people to my photography
Okay.
through the photo booth. For example, do a photo booth at a high school prom or after prom, and have some kind of advertising there for doing senior photos or something along those lines. I don't do any portrait photography now, 7 years later. Haven't done anything because I don't have time to do anything with photography on a serious basis. So
You found your niche and you just blew
things-
up, man.
Yeah, things just kind of took off and kind of took me in a different direction, and the photo booths have really exploded for us over the last almost 7 years now.
Which I think is extraordinary. You know, I think when we first met, you had a kind of a similar photo booth to what we use with Ultimate. I think, which was just a simple setup. I mean, yours was a lot more. You delved so much more into the props and the experience of it. But you've even expounded on that since then. Like you've got different variations of photo booths as well. So we're going to get into that in more detail. Well, let's talk a little bit talk about like packages. So you've got different kind of levels of photo booths. So explain a little bit more about how those work.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're right. We started out, we had a basic cabinet style enclosed photo booth, what I call now, or what I refer to now as an old school, type of photo booth. People ask me sometimes when they call us, they say, do you have the photo booth like the one at the mall? Well, nobody has a photo booth like the one at the mall. That's a tin can with an opening in it. And
mall's still a
crunch two
thing
people
anymore?
into it,
Our mall, yeah. Sadly, no.
What's a mall?
Yeah, what's a mall? So ours is a little bit bigger than that. You can fit up to 6 people in the enclosed booth, but that is how we started, and we have grown. We have 8 photo booths now that we can rent out, and we have 4 different styles of photo booth. We have an enclosed booth, which there are still a number of our clients that book us on a yearly basis for their events that prefer that enclosed booth, the old school kind
Which
of.
would be kind of the
booth.
old school booth.
Right.
You get the strip that goes through, and
Yep.
pretty simple. Okay.
Yeah, and then we have an open air booth where you've got your backdrop and you've got the kiosk with the computer and the camera and the lighting and everything. A little ways away from the backdrop, and people stand for their photos and get their photos taken. And we have a camper photo booth. We have a 1968 Shasta Air Flight camper that was gutted to the studs by the original owner and built out specifically for a photo booth. So the inside is all white so that the light bounces and provides even lighting for all the people that are in the booth. It's red and white. We call her Sadie, which if you think about it a little bit, we've got the D from smiling, the D for dog, and the E for entertainment in the name Sadie. So that's kind of how we came up with that name.
See, this guy's thinking.
This
It's
guy.
This guy right
This
here.
guy.
So-
That's why.
Actually, it's my wife. My wife's the brains behind the operation.
You're just the pretty face?
Yeah, that's right. So we've got the camper photo booth, and then we've got one that hasn't been out yet, but we have a 1950s television that was turned into a photo booth. So the TV was gutted, the screen was taken off, the computer was put in there for the touch screen. We have the camera coming out the top where you can shoot the photos, but you've got the frame or the shell of the 1950s TV. It's got old vintage lamps that hold the flashes that
that's
light
awesome.
the scene. Some really cool stuff with that. So yeah, we have a variety of different types and styles of photo booths that we offer. And you referenced it before. One of the things that we've been known for since day one is our variety and selection of props. We bring a lot of props to all of our rentals unless people specifically ask not to have them. I've been told by other professionals or colleagues in the industry that if they required their staff to bring as many props as we do to our events, their staff would quit.
Seriously, I have seen your. I mean, we've worked together before. I've seen your setup. I've seen it at wedding shows. I've seen it live, and he's not. You're probably understating it. It is awesome. I mean, if you really want the full experience, and that's part of the fun of the whole thing. I mean, you've got you almost need like a changing room, like a wardrobe room, where people can come in and get ready for their pictures before it happens. I mean, it's awesome though, because it takes that experience that much more. You're making it so much more than, I'm just gonna get in the photo booth.
Right.
You're really making it a fun experience for everybody from every age range at whatever kind of event that you're doing, which I think is so cool.
Yeah, I've used this line on some of our marketing materials before, but what better picture to have to remember your special day than seeing grandma or grandpa in a feather boa, in a bright neon pink feather boa with a tiger striped fedora, on in their picture. And we have pictures of those. Sometimes grandpa is being forced against his will to wear the neon boa and the brightly colored fedora, but we have some of those fun photos that you get at the end of the night.
Right.
The wedding photographers capture a certain type of photo, right? And they do an awesome job with what they do. I'm envious of anybody that can be a wedding photographer, because I know all the work that goes into that. We provide a different type of photography that's just as memorable with the images that come out and the results, the photo strips and everything for the wedding. And we get very strong reactions from brides when we do memory albums, where we put a copy of every photo strip in the album and give that to them at the end of the night. We get a lot of positive reactions from that when people tell us how much fun they had going back and looking through that and seeing all the fun photos.
And you do that, you can do that night for them, so they get kind of instant gratification and the opportunity to see all of their guests' experience with that, because you hold back a copy, or you bring an extra copy for the couple as well. So the people that go through the booth get a copy of it for their experience, and then you can hold back one as an option, I would assume, for the couples too, so they can kind of see everybody that goes through their photo booth, right?
Right. Yeah, so the memory album is an option that you get with certain packages, or that you can add on to any package. And just like you said, we do with all of our photo booths where we do a print, because some of our photo booths are digital only. People choose to have digital delivery only. But with all of our packages where we do a printed photo strip, we give one copy of the printed photo strip to every person that's in the photo that wants one.
Nice.
So if there's 10 people in the photo and all 10 people want a copy of the printed photo strip, we print out 10 copies and we make sure that everybody leaves with one in their hand.
Okay, that by itself is over and above 99% of the photo booths that I know.
We get questions about that quite a bit. And we get the questions usually come in the form of, do you guys do unlimited printed strips, or do you just do two? And
almost everybody I know does just the two. I mean, that's what we do with Ultimate Entertainment for the photo booth. You get two strips. You do one for everybody. And this is why Ultimate Entertainment actually refers Shane and Smiling Dog Entertainment when it comes to photo booths. They're so much better at it than we are. I'm not even kidding. You're good at what you do.
Well, thank you. The way I look at it is that's what people are going through the photo booth for, right?
Right.
And sometimes we sell that to newlyweds that are looking to book us, as this can be your party favor,
Yeah.
right? The photo strip, right? So we want to make sure that everybody leaves with one in their hand.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, when we do the memory album, if there's 10 people in that picture, we would print 11 copies. We'd print 10. And
One
then we
for the
would
couple.
put one in the memory album.
Yeah.
And then we strongly encourage the people that are in those photos to come and leave a note on the page next to their photo.
So it could
in
almost
the
be
memory
like
album.
a welcome or a guest book for them.
Yeah, we've had people that have specifically done the memory album in place of the guest book. In fact,
Sure.
I have one that I'm working with right now who specifically said that we want a memory album and we want to do that in place of the guest book.
That's awesome.
So then we usually work with the DJs, to make sure they make multiple announcements during the evening to encourage people to come and use the photo booth because the couple is using the memory album as their guest book, and they want to make sure they get pictures of everybody
Yeah.
that was at the wedding in there. One of my favorite reviews from a client was the mother of the bride, and she left a review afterwards. And the night of the wedding, she told me that she wished that she had booked us for a longer amount of time. And I told her, I said, you can always have us stay longer.
Overtime is always an option.
You know,
right?
I can take payment from you, and we can stay longer if you want to. And she said, no, that's okay. But in her review, she said that the memory album was by far the best part of the experience.
That's awesome.
And that they wished that they had done that instead of their guest book.
Sure.
They were so happy with it. And like you said, we do it throughout the evening. We put it all together before we leave, and we hand it to the bride or whoever she tells us to give it to. And oftentimes they'll open it up and start flipping through the pages and looking at that while we're standing there, and they're just amazed at at all the fun photos that are in there, and all the memories that we captured.
Well,
and
we are such visual creatures, and I think even more now with everybody with their cell phones, everything's picture. I mean, Instagram and Snapchat and everything is photo based, and so when you give them that kind of instant gratification of being able to relive their entire night through the photo booth, because the couple's not in there seeing all the the goofy poses or the grandpa in the goofy hat. The couple doesn't see any of that, so for them they get a whole nother side of the greatest night of their lives that they didn't experience. They weren't there for each one of those. So it's almost a gift of a second experience on top of a great experience,
Right, because they're, a lot of times the bride and groom make it over for a few photos or
Right.
a handful of photos, or sometimes we have to make it a point to go and get the bride and groom and get them in towards the end of the night before we close up, because they've got so many other obligations and so many other things that take their time during the wedding. So like you said, they don't get to see all of that, taking place in the photo booth and the fun that, their guests are having. So that is an important, part of the experience that they're not getting the full impact of.
Right.
And a lot of times, they kind of know that. I mean, they a lot of the reason that people book the photo booth is to provide a fun activity for their guests, right? And they kind of know what that's going to be for. Is for them, not as much for for themselves. The other thing that we do with the majority of our packages is we have a live online gallery. So when people go through the photo booth and they get their pictures taken, usually if we have a really good internet connection, and we bring our own mobile hotspots to try and ensure that, but usually within 30 seconds of when they leave the photo booth, a digital copy of the printed photo strip will be uploaded to the gallery.
Now, is this applicable even with like the old school kind of the pop-up one?
Yeah, it doesn't matter what.
So that
style
crosses
of
all
booth.
formats that you're doing for all the booths.
Right.
Nice.
Yep.
Okay.
So a digital copy of the printed photo strip gets uploaded. Each of the individual photos get uploaded into a template that's similar in design to the printed photo strip. And then we upload an animated GIF of the photos from the the photo booth session. People scan a QR code, they get taken to the online gallery, they can download, they can share, they can email, they can text any of the photos that they want from there. That helps take away from what I see a lot of times with 20 to 30 somethings who go into the photo booth and get their picture taken, and then they walk out and I see them with their phone taking pictures of the printed photo strip
Right.
to share.
Right.
I'm like, here, just scan this QR code right over here, and then you can share it instantly, and you're not going to have the glare on your photo strip of the light from your, from up above.
Yeah.
And people love the animated GIF. That's one of the things that they really like. So, people really like that, and we do an online gallery of all of the individual images and give that to the bride and groom through our website after the event, where they can download the whole gallery for free. They can share the link and the password with whoever they want to, and anybody can download the entire gallery or any of the images for free.
So it is.
as
I mean,
well,
it is
so.
full service from every. I mean, well past the reception. They're able to let their guests know, hey, go check out what you may have missed or what you did in the photo booth.
Yep.
Do you have a warning sign on the photo? You go, certain things you probably shouldn't do because everyone's going to be able to see it. Kind of.
We do not. We probably should. We had one incident at a college graduation party that would remind you a little bit of Mardi Gras. And and when that happened,
There were some beads that were earned in that
Yeah,
picture.
yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. Okay.
and,
We tell
and when that
people that.
happened,
Yeah.
We do. We warn them.
We can see everything you're doing in there. Oh,
Yeah, but in Shane's case, everybody can see everything that you're doing in there.
yeah, and in
For us,
that-
it's just our photo booth attendants. They're like, guess what they just did? And I get a text. I'm like, oh, gosh, all right, I'm moving on.
Yeah. Well, in that particular instance, it was when you could still upload directly to Facebook. And so I got a message from Facebook telling me that some inappropriate content was being uploaded to my page. So after that, I had to warn everybody that came in the photo booth that day, don't
Right.
do anything in here that you wouldn't want your parents to see. You know, we just did, Susan, my wife, just did a wedding the other day, and the groom and one of his friends both took off their shirts, you know, and we're standing there, you know, half naked from the waist up, you know, in their picture. I mean, you know, people get crazy, and you know, some of the brides that contact us, or the grooms or their parents or whatever, they'll book the photo booth to a certain point in the evening, and then they'll say, we don't want it to go beyond that because we know that the only pictures that are going to take place after that are going to be when people are drunk and stupid,
Right.
and we don't really need to see that.
So now, but that leads to a question that I get often about the photo booth. So what do you recommend? You know, your typical kind of Iowa wedding reception. You know, the Iowa average is around 225, 250 guests ish. Is, you know, kind of that's the way it was pre-COVID. It's finally kind of getting back to those numbers, and we're starting to see even the 250 and up kind of crowd. So, you know, the span of a reception is generally anywhere from, say, 6 to 8 hours of total time. That would be from like guest arrival through the end of the night, like 4 to midnight, something like that. So as a photo booth expert, the question that I get from a lot of couples is, you know, what time should we have the photo booth start or end? So, because you're usually not there the whole time.
Right.
You know, so what do you usually recommend for people if they're planning on a photo booth? When's kind of the optimal time to do that?
Yeah, that's a great question, and we get that a lot too. I've actually written a blog post about it, you know, to try and help educate people. What we see as kind of the typical reception schedule is that people will have their ceremony. They will have a cocktail hour at the reception venue where the bridal party is out taking pictures or bar hopping, or you know, whatever it is.
Usually
they're
a
doing
combination
for
of those
an
things.
hour, hour and a half,
Right.
or whatever. And then dinner will start, and dinner typically runs roughly an hour, you know, to an hour and a half or whatever. And then the dance will start, and then, you know, that's kind of the typical reception schedule. I mean, I'd
Right.
say that 75% of the receptions that we're at kind of follow that format.
Exactly.
You know, a little bit of differences sometimes if people have their ceremony and their reception at the same venue, but
Right.
so what we tell people all the time is that the cocktail hour is a prime opportunity for people to use the photo booth. People are showing up at the venue. They may be the first ones there. They may not know anybody when they first get there. There's not really anything for them to do other than grab a drink, find their assigned seat, sit down, you know, talk to the other people as they come in. It's a perfect opportunity to fill that time with something for them to do.
Sure.
And I'm sure, as you know as well, a significant number of people leave every wedding reception right after dinner is over with. You know, so then you're giving those people the opportunity to use the photo booth before dinner, right? And they can get in and get their photos taken. And then we typically shut the photo booth down over the dinner hour to not interrupt any of the speeches or
Perfect.
cake cutting,
Yep.
things like that.
Yep.
And then we open the photo booth back up again afterwards. The way that our packages are set up, our packages are generally up to 3 hours, up to 6 hours, or up to 8 hours. So what we recommend to people is that 4 hours seems to be the sweet spot for a photo booth rental. You know, most of the people are going to be able to get in by that time. Beyond 4 hours, you're getting people coming in for the 13th, 14th, 15th time.
Right.
You know, in some cases. And, you know, kind of like what you were saying with the schedule and everything, the party starts to kind of peter out a little bit beyond that, and it's not as beneficial, you know, to have to pay for us to be there or whatever. You know, so we recommend 4 hours usually, an hour before, you know, dinner, and then we're shut down over dinner, and then you have, you know, 2 to 3 hours after dinner for your, you know, for the photo booth to be open.
I think that's perfect, and it's extremely considerate to factor that in to let couples know that, because, you know, I think it's so important for the guests to hear the speeches. For all of the guests or the majority of the guests to be engaged with what's happening on the dance floor for your first dance. For the father-daughter dance, for the mother-son dance. For the big moment kind of dances. And then once kind of all the official stuff is done, back to the party. And so you reopen the photo booth. You don't want your guests up wandering around during dinner, during toast, during those first dances. We want them kind of focused on those moments so they can be focused on you. And I know a lot, especially it seems like these days, a lot of the couples are like, don't focus on me. Here's the bad news.
It's your day.
It's your day. There's a reason you got the big, expensive, pretty dress on.
Yeah.
So they're going to be a little bit focused on you. But having that, knowing that as they go in, as they're planning, I think will help a lot. Having it for that social time first, usually even before the wedding party gets there, so it gives the guests something to do, and then kind of a natural, organic pause from dinner through first dances. And in most cases, it's like what we always promote with Ultimate Entertainment is I'm not a big timeline guy. I'm not going to say, well, if dinner's at 6:30, first dances are at 7:40. No, but you can naturally, organically go dinner, toasts, first dance, or dinner, cake cutting, toast, first dance, just something like that. But you have them kind of just naturally go in an arc that eventually leads right to the dance floor. So that way we're not having those kind of choppy breaks between. You get all of that out of the way and then right back into the party. So that way everybody can enjoy the photo booth to an even bigger degree. So something else that I wanted to get to quick here before before the Andrew big moment. He's waiting because I know it's about that part of the show, and I'm gonna tease it. It's coming soon. The Andrew Cruz moment at OSF TV.
He's got quite a voice for that. Coming
soon. He thought it was moment now, but not yet. It's soon. I want to quick talk about the digital side of the photo booth.
Yeah.
So we talked about kind of the old school one with the photo strips. Last wedding show that you and I did together, you had a portable one that it looked like a big ass vanity mirror that people could carry around. Talk about that for a little bit. I want to get that in before we get to the break real quick, and then we'll get into more of the nuts and bolts stuff.
Yeah. So when I was talking about the different photo booths that we have, or options that we have earlier, I actually did kind of skip a couple there. So one of those would be the handheld, we'll call it a selfie stick sort of thing. It does kind of look like a Victorian mirror frame. It's got an iPad mini inside of it. It's designed mostly for candid photos. It's meant to be passed around the reception by, from table to table or person to person. We usually use it as a complement to our normal photo booth with one of our most popular wedding photo booth packages.
Okay.
So we have the main photo booth, and then what we do is we find the person that looks like they're having the most fun, and we walk over and we give them the selfie stick first. And I mean, it's really super simple. It's got a little cube light on the top of the frame, to provide some lighting. And all the guest has to do is hold it up and look at it, and they can see what the picture is that's going to be taken in front of them. They push a little button on the screen, it takes the picture, and then they can email that picture to themselves.
And you can do that in concert with like the old school photo booth.
Yep.
And all of that syncs up and uploads up to the cloud form too?
Yeah, so as long as we have a good internet connection, again, we set the internet connection on the iPad mini, and it will upload the photos from that handheld device to the live online gallery as well.
So
and we
cool.
do the same kind of a frame for that photo, so it all fits the look and feel of the wedding. The other one that I forgot to mention is also a digital. We have now what's called a digital drop-off booth, where we will just bring the booth and set it up for you. No props, no backdrop, just the
So you bring your own
mechanics
stuff,
of it.
kind of a DIY kind of stuff.
And we will spend half an hour or so with you showing you how the booth works and everything. We set that up, leave it with you. Your guests just use it. It's pretty self-explanatory. The screens that you use on the computer are self-explanatory. People just go up, take their photos. When they're done, screen pops up. They put in their email address and an email version of the what would be the printed photo strip
So something
design.
like that would be really effective,
is
like in a
emailed to
smaller
them.
space area,
Yeah.
where you're not taking up as much real estate. So like a little tighter venue, or if you've got a really big guest count or something like that, where you need that space for tables or for guests or for anything else.
Yeah.
Something like that would be perfect.
Yep, and we've had that go out. We've just started doing that about 4 months ago, and we've had it go out half a dozen to a dozen times, and people have loved it. You know, they provide their own backdrop. Sometimes they have a special backdrop that they want to use, or they just don't want any props. You know, I mean, we will add props in, and we will add a backdrop in if they want it. But, you know, at its basic, it's just a digital, you know, photo booth. And like you say, if it's a smaller wedding, it's at a smaller price point. So it's, you know, something that pretty much anybody can afford. Still gives you the same experience. You just don't get a printed photo strip because we don't want to leave a printer there, because it's just more opportunities for things to, you know, go wrong. And it's just a really simple, you know, basic, clean kind of thing. And we still do with that one. All of our photo booths right now, almost all of our photo booths right now, except for the handheld one, are digital SLR camera photo booths. We don't do any of the iPad photo booths because I prefer the lighting from the digital SLR booths.
An actual camera doing the legwork there, yeah.
And so that's what we deliver with our drop-off booths, is a camera and professional lighting photo booth. So you're going to get a high-quality photo, even though it's just a digital, you know, photo booth experience.
So awesome. I love it. Did I tell you? This is a good show. There's so much goodness.
Really good show.
It's a really big share. It's going to be one of our better ones. This is one that, you know, people will watch.
11 people will watch this one instead of the 10s that watch the other ones, right?
Well, slow down. I want to say for the record, too, Shane is the first one on the show with the same haircut. Starting a trend.
I got to get on that.
It's called genetics.
If you want a quick start, just listen to your then wife who says that she knows how to cut hair and doesn't.
Oh.
Because that's how you get this, is you just end up cutting it all off because your wife butchered what she said she could do.
She cut mine once when during COVID, when all the barber shops were closed. She didn't do too bad.
Well, that's good.
I have a pretty simple.
Yeah, it's not like you have a real complicated do going on there. Yeah.
And then I wear hats too, so
That's my wife when I finally started to kind of cave to starting to look a little pathetic, Sean. You know, let me just bring it forward a little bit. You know, and finally she's like, "Can I just shave it for you?" Yes. So I just let her do it for a while, and then finally I'm like, I'm an adult, I can do it myself, and shave it off. So we're a little bit over halfway through the show, and like I said, this is a great show, and we've got so much more coming up. We haven't even gotten into what else Smiling Dog Entertainment can do for your big day. But first, if you like what you see right now, and you know, let's say you wanted to you know, find out like what's coming next, like future shows, or you know, come back and watch this again and again and again and again and tell your friends and stuff. Andrew, what would be the best way to do that, ladies and gentlemen? The Andrew moment.
3 things you can do.
What's that?
1, hit that like button. 2, smash that subscribe button. 3, click the bell for notifications. And if there's something you like, suggestions, comments, death threats.
No, just comments.
Leave them in the comment section below.
Tag at Andrew for death threats. Death threats?
You never know.
Like and subscribe. That's what Andrew says. Trust me, he's at the kids' table. He knows what he's talking about. Did you see that I gave you? We titled the kids' table.
Yes.
Like, it's time. A couple shows ago, he and Nicole were talking, and Andrew's like, feels like we're at the kids' table. So in lieu of actually spending money on a sign, we just typed it into the system. I'll get you a sign next time.
Nicole, what do you think?
See?
Take your
She's
time.
smiling. She fully agrees. Hey, we really do appreciate it, though. Like and subscribe, share it with your friends. We really, really do. If you're watching this show and you're like, oh my gosh, my best friend's getting married and she's looking for a photo booth, just do this. Trust me. Trust me. Should use my lower voice for that one. Trust me on this. I know what I'm talking about. I'm a trained professional. These are their stories.
Sounds even better with headphones on.
I think it's the headphone. I know, we're going to listen to this back and be like, God, he sounds creepy.
It's that
What
ASMR
what is that?
headphone stuff, you know?
Well, he does have that radio voice.
I did.
He's got a face for radio too.
I did radio for a while. This is my first foray into TV. So, and the original plan for this show was based on the fact that I know that I have a beautiful face for TV. So the original plan was, let's just do the recording. I got a radio background. I can do that. And then like, hey, we should throw cameras in. Hi. So
I think the YouTubes was my idea.
it was your idea.
Hey, let's do YouTube. You buy all the equipment, and it's working out pretty well for me.
We're getting there and we're evolving. Oh, I got new microphones that I want to get. That's going to be awesome. We're moving to a new studio in the next couple months that we're going to be building. It's
Moving on up.
yep, exactly. And someday it won't just cost me money, and it'll actually start paying for itself. It may be the
What a
last
lofty
show I do
goal.
before I die, but this one's finally on the company. No.
And then we get that plaque from YouTube. So many subscribers.
Right?
I think when we reach 100, we get like a piece of paper written in crayon.
So we're at, last I looked, I think we're at 77 or 78. So if you're watching this show, hit the like button. Just let's get to 100.
Hit the subscribe button.
The subscribe button.
That would help even
See,
more.
that's why he's the like and subscribe guy.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'm just the talky guy.
Like and subscribe.
Hey, we're talking to, you're watching Shane from Smiling Dog Entertainment based out of Des Moines. They are, and I'm not even exaggerating, I say this to everybody, they are the best in the business when it comes to photo booths. They are so good at what they do. So if you're catching this show midway through, rewind, go back and listen to what we were talking about earlier, just about all of the things that you offer with photo booths. But photo booths, I mean, honestly, tip of the iceberg. I mean, you now are getting, like wedding and party decor rentals. You've got wedding and party equipment rentals. You've got audiovisual equipment rentals. You've got game rentals, portrait and event photography, headshot photography, bachelor and bachelorette party planning, outdoor big screen movie parties, entertaining yard card displays, candy, popcorn, and s'mores, which he did not bring any of those three. It just occurred to me.
What are you doing?
I don't know.
What are you doing?
Lisa from Bar Candy brought us cake
Right.
and pie and alcohol.
And then came back and brought us more.
Yes, she did.
Just remember, you are the one that's been stalking me.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
that's
man.
true.
See, prima donna. You saw it coming. Yep. See, it went right to his head. That's right. That you can tell because the hair's gone. And you do online trivia.
We don't.
You don't.
No.
Okay.
We don't.
All right.
We.
I'm going to take that one off my
yeah.
list. Out of
Yeah.
the 4,000 things you guys do
Yeah.
wonderfully. So
And-
that's all right.
And actually, there are probably a couple of other things on that list that we don't really do.
Kind of
that
phasing
we-
here and out.
That we, tried to start getting into that never really kind of took off. The whole online trivia was COVID, COVID related, and trying to, build up some business while we were effectively shut down like
Right
the
on.
rest of the wedding industry during COVID times.
Well, let's focus on what you do know, because I know you
Yeah.
guys do. You're getting into decor rentals and equipment rentals and stuff like that. And I want to circle back to that because that's really kind of its own subject. But one thing that you guys do now and have been doing for quite a while is like the big letters, like the celebration letters, like the birthday messages. Let's take a second and talk about that.
Yeah, that was one of the kind of first things that we added to the photo booth rentals when we started looking for additional things that we could do to add some things that complemented our business. And so we have the 4-foot tall lighted love letters, and we have a 4-foot tall, like 10-foot wide lighted Mr. and Mrs. sign that we bought from a gentleman who had made it specifically for his own wedding. And,
Perfect.
it's unique. It's got, wooden top rail and a wooden bottom rail and metal letters and everything. It's really cool. And, so we started adding, those types of rentals to the business. And those are probably currently two of our most rented, items outside of the photo booths. You can use them near the photo booth. You can put them in front of the head table. You can put them up on a stage like some people have, by your dance floor.
Sure.
What I tell people is it's a great way to draw even more attention to the head table.
Right.
Because normally we put it right in front of where the bride and groom are sitting. And,
Right.
so those lights, people are going to see that lit sign, and their focus is going to be even more directed towards the head table. So it's just a great, add-on piece. And it kind of was the opening of the door that led us into some of the other things that you're talking about, the the wedding decor
that
rentals.
I'm
and-
alluding to for later in
things
the
like that.
show.
Yeah.
It's that there's more coming. Stay tuned. But before we get into that, because that's kind of a new direction for you guys, which I'm super excited to see. I know you're going to be amazing at it, and we're going to talk more about it. But I want to focus on just kind of couple interactions. You know, like you know about our stress-free wedding because you're on the platform, and you and I have been friends for a number of years, so you know kind of my philosophy of what how we approach weddings and what we've always done. And putting the couple's needs above everything else. My goal, it's funny, the whole Our Stress-Free Wedding name came from something that I used to say, I still say it, to couples when they would book with Ultimate Entertainment. And, after they, officially, we want to go with you. I'm like, hey, great. Just so you know, my job is to help make your day as stress-free as possible. And I used to say it as just kind of an acknowledgement and a kind of a thank you and just kind of a last little reassuredness that, hey, I got you, And for so many years, the response that I would get from people is, okay, cool, thanks, which is fine. I wasn't looking to elicit a big response. It was just something that I said that I thought was nice. And it was about 2017, 18-ish, where this was kind of bouncing around in the back of my mind, this whole concept. And I remember I said that to a bride over the phone. And her response when I said that was, seriously? Do you mean that? And I was actually kind of thrown off. Like it kind of threw off my rhythm. I'm like, well, yeah, of course I mean that. Absolutely I do. And I almost want to ask, why are you worried that I'm not? But there are so many, and you've seen them too, Shane, substandard wedding people out there, crappy DJs, crappy photographers, crappy photo booth people. You've seen them. I know you've seen them. You've been doing this for long enough to know. And so that automatically, when people are planning their wedding day, it puts that insecurity in their mind. It's the gosh, I hope they don't suck factor. That's I really need to find a way to put that on the website. Gosh, I hope they don't suck.
We'll save it for the TikToks.
Maybe that'd be better for the TikToks, or maybe like a shirt. I don't know. Put it on a
There you go,
platform.
yeah.
This nice, elegant website, and right below it is, "Gosh, I hope they don't suck." No, let's maybe not go that way. So let's talk about your interaction with couples as they're planning their big day. What do you do to help put their mind at ease as they're planning for all of this?
So I think the biggest thing that we do that I've heard feedback on from couples that we've worked with is just that we are incredibly responsive, and we, if anything, we over communicate with people.
That's such a thing to complain about.
I get it over and over again from people about, thank you for getting back to me so quickly.
Isn't that crazy?
Or thank you for getting back to me.
Yeah.
And then I say, well, you're welcome. Do you really have people that don't get back to you?
I know.
And they say, yes.
Yes.
I've reached out to 5 different companies, and you're the only one that got back to me.
It's mind-blowing.
And so thank you to those other companies that aren't responding to their emails because,
You almost want to send a note. Thanks for being really bad at your job.
But I mean, that's just, to me, it's just common sense and common courtesy, right?
Right.
You're just, like you're saying, you want to put people at ease, and you want to know that you want them to know that when they reach out to you with a question, you're going to give them a prompt response. And, I will say that as we've grown, especially this year, we've had a little bit of growing pains this year because our business has grown so quickly because of the number of weddings that are taking place in 2022, that we have not done as well at that as I would like us to do, that we have not been up to our standards every single time. I would still say 90 to 95% of the time we're at that.
I'm going to go with you're
standard.
being probably more hypercritical than you actually are on this, because I know you, and I know how quickly you are to get back to me, and I'm not a client. So
yeah, but I mean, every once in a while, it just, something falls through the cracks.
Sure.
I mean, it happens in business, right? But so that's one thing that we just try to be very responsive. We try to answer all the questions that people ask. If they have a number of questions in their email, I try to kind of bullet point them or numerically answer them so that I make sure that I answer every single one of their questions. We try to encourage people to schedule consultation calls with us instead of communicating via email because it's quicker and easier to answer those questions, you know, in a 15, 20-minute phone call than through 5 or 6, you know,
Things can get lost
emails
real quick in the thread of emails.
going
Yeah.
back and forth.
Yeah.
And, you know, we get compliments on that as well. You know, the person that helped us develop our website put this in place for us, but, you know, we send out a link where they can find our calendar and schedule the time that's convenient for them to have a phone call,
Beautiful.
not for a time that's convenient for us, you know.
So
to
even with
do a
that,
phone
you're putting
call.
your clients' needs ahead of everything else.
And, you know, that's another thing that I've been finding lately, and you referenced this earlier. You know, there are companies out there that are doing things that benefit their company instead of benefiting the client.
That's a great way to put it.
And, you know, we offer services that the client wants, not services that we want the client to want. You know, that's why we have so many different varieties of photo booths. That's why we have so many different varieties of packages. You know, it's why we have so much variety in our pricing. You know, we will do most anything that a client wants us to do. You know, and it's very rare that we say that we can't do something. I learned from, you know, somebody in the photo booth industry that I really, really respect is you say yes, and then you figure out how you're going to do it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, and, you know, that's another thing that's been a huge benefit to us is just, you know, as we've been doing this for, you know, 7 years, and we've started going to like the Photo Booth Expo in Las Vegas every February, we've grown our network of contacts in the industry so that when things come up that we may not be experts in, we have experts that we can lean on to learn, you know, how to do that and deliver that experience, you know, for those brides and grooms, so that we don't have to say, you know, no, we can't do that.
Fantastic.
You know, so we just really strive to, I mean, what it really comes down to is I strive to treat people the way that I want to be treated in my transactions when I'm working with a company. And it's just, to me, it's just that simple.
That's and it's so important, you know, and it's so easy in the wedding industry from our side to kind of fall into that routine because for us, you know most of the questions before they ask them. You know, it's the first time for them.
Right.
It's not your first time. So probably 7 out of 10 times, you know what questions are coming. So it can, there's a comfort dip that's easy to fall into. And someone of your standard, of your quality, you don't allow that dip to happen. You know, you let them ask those questions and you help them when they have those questions, you know, getting back to them right away, not making them wait a week. I remember a bride that I had spoken with, this was years ago. Like when we send out kind of our initial contract information, you know, someone's like, oh, I love it. I want to learn more. Cool. You know, here's everything you need. And we'll email it out to them. And then we hold their date guaranteed for a couple weeks because I want them to do their research. I want them to look at other services to see, again, what fits them best. And so we follow up. A couple weeks later, if we don't have the contract back at that point, and I had a bride one time tell me, you know, we're still thinking about it. You know, yep, that's great. I'm just waiting to hear back from a couple other DJs. Okay, that's cool. And so my follow-up question to that is always, did you contact them to the same day that you contacted me? Because usually, you know, when people are planning their wedding, it's like, okay, today we're finding our DJ, right? So they're searching everything. Today we're finding our photo booth. Today we're finding our photographer. So they focus in on that one particular vendor. And so this bride's like, well, yeah, you know, I reached out to, I think, you know, 5 or 6 other DJs on that same day. Okay, did they get back to you? Well, no, that's what I'm waiting to hear back from. Okay, so, you know, just to put this in perspective, if you decide to book with one of those other DJs that you're still waiting on, and it is 3 weeks before your wedding, are you cool waiting 2 weeks, so the week before your wedding, to get the answers you need for the biggest day of your life? And she stopped. She's like, I didn't think of it that way. Like, I'm just asking a question, and bam, she signed the contract right there. You know? It's communication. You know, it's huge. It's attention to the clients. It's helping them make the biggest day of their life as stress-free as possible. And for professionals like you, it's second nature. You know, which is great. That's a testament to who you are and what you do.
Yeah, I mean, we booked a bride for for a photo booth because we responded to her post on Facebook on the 4th of July.
Sure.
I mean, my wife, Susan, she does an awesome job of looking at all the, wedding buy, sell, trade groups all the time. And she had this person was looking for a photo booth or for recommendations, and Susan had commented, about us on there. And I saw the comment, and then I added another comment, to it with a little bit more information. And the person reached out to us, and I started messaging her back and forth. And by the 5th of July, we had booked her, despite the fact that after we started a conversation with her, there were probably 10 other companies that
Sure.
added joined that thread that she had posted. I mean, we reached out on the 4th of July on a holiday and answered her questions and started a conversation. And I mean, that's another thing too, that the training that I continue to go through and going to the Photo Booth Expo and things like that in February, I went and listened to a person present this year about the style of communication that you use when you talk to, potential clients. And everything that he said that was wrong was what I was doing.
Interesting.
And so I completely changed the way that I communicate to potential clients when they reach out to us. And what I try to do now is start a conversation with them.
So just screaming, book us now, book us now, book us now is not the right way to do this?
It's not.
Interesting. Write that down,
I'm
Andrew.
gonna write that down.
Yeah, write that down.
So I just, try to start a conversation and build up a rapport and, find out more about what they're interested in and,
Right.
What it is that they're looking for. And, every once in a while they are looking for something that we don't offer. I mean, there are companies, in Iowa and in the surrounding area that offer mirror photo booths, and we don't have a mirror booth, and if somebody's looking specifically for a mirror booth, I'm not going to try and talk them out of that. In fact, if I know a company that has one, I'll probably, recommend that they, contact that company.
So you're connecting with that
Right,
couple.
we're trying to
you're
build an honest kind of,
Right.
rapport and relationship and not just
so important.
sell.
Right. No, it's the connections and the communications, and that's a giant part of the Our Stress Free platform, is that if you are part of Our Stress Free Wedding, if you register, which by the way as a couple 100% free, and we've got all kinds of neat services for you. You can have your own webpage, you can do RSVP, you can do gift registries, you can do all this, hotel accommodations, timelines, budgets. There's all kinds of really cool stuff that you can play with. But the biggest part of it, I think the best quality part of the whole planning platform from the couple side, is our communication hub. And what that communication hub does is allow you one more way to connect with your professionals. So if you find Smiling Dog Entertainment on ourstressfreewedding.com and you connect with them, there's a little button that all you got to do is just push it. If you're a registered user, and you are able to talk to them through our messaging system. So one more way to connect with your vendors, because again, like what you just were talking about, Shane, I think everyone that we've spoken with really seeks to have that kind of relationship with their clients, because it to someone like you, to someone like me, to someone like I know Nicole, right, Nicole? To someone like that in the wedding business, it's not just, I'm getting paid on Saturday. It's building that relationship, and I think couples are craving that, because again, they're in uncharted water. They're doing something they've never done before. So the last thing they need is this clinical, well, here's our rates, here's what we do, this is what it is. Do you want to sign the contract now? Now? How about now? Can you pay your deposit now? How about now? Would now be a good time? How about first thing tomorrow? They don't need the car salesman hard sell, buy it now, buy it now, buy it now kind of thing. They need to know that you're invested in their day, that you're listening to their vision of what they're looking for, that you are going to do everything you can within your realm to make their day the way that they want it, right? And being transparent, like with the mirror booth and stuff like that, and letting them know, I'm sorry, that's not something we can do, but someone who does, and you're not afraid to hand that off to have something that fits them better for their day. That's fantastic. One of the questions I had sent you on our little script here, and I think this whole show answers it, and it's what sets you apart from other photo booth services. But I think all I gotta say is just rewatch the show. If you have that question, rewatch the show because I think you've answered it. Is there a summary that you could have for that? What do you feel? I'll ask you anyway. What do you feel sets you apart from other photo booth companies?
I mean, one of the things that I know that sets us apart is our props. I mean, it's just, and it's a small thing, but it's something that gets brought up to us over and over and over again. I mean, we continually have people comment about the selection of props that we bring to their event, to their wedding, to their what other event they hire us for to provide the photo booth for. It's something that we kind of built the business on from day one. When we first started off, we had certain packages and we had a ton of props, and then we added a lower package and we were going to bring fewer props, and I never ever brought fewer props. My wife would say, Shane, wasn't your whole thing that part of this package was you weren't going to bring in as many props? And I'm like, yeah, I know. I just bring props. And, I was going to mention this earlier. You said we should, when we were talking earlier, it's almost like we should have a dressing room for people, right? Sometimes I almost think we have too many props because there will be people that would literally stand there for 10 minutes trying to figure out what to wear, right? They go through like everything. And it's funny to watch them spend that much time getting their stuff together.
Right.
But, so that's one of the things that I think sets us apart. The other thing is that, we are always striving to do better and to differentiate ourselves from the rest of the people that do photo booths in the state. And I don't mean that to say that we want to be better than anybody else. We just want to be ourselves, but we want to provide different experiences. We don't want to provide the exact same experience that you can get from anybody else, right? We want to provide you with a little bit more. So, some of the things that we've started adding go kind of into some of the other services that we offer. But, we have, hand-built boxwood, hedgewood walls that you can use as a backdrop for your photo booth. We have neon signs that you can hang from those boxwood, hedgewood walls. We have, a white floral wall that you can use as a backdrop. So we've started building these premium backdrops to provide, different unique experiences, as a backdrop. We have an 8-foot by 8-foot chalkboard wall that you can use as a backdrop for your wedding photo booth. And the thing is that we will bring chalkboard markers with so that your guests can add their own message to the backdrop. So the backdrop would change throughout the entire wedding reception with every group that went in there. They put their own mark on the backdrop, right? So we're just trying to, add elements that kind of elevate the experience for people. And we're always trying to get better. We're always trying to learn. We're always trying to train up our staff so that they, can provide an incredible experience. And frankly, I think that's another thing that separates us. We've been incredibly fortunate in the people that we've hired to join our team at Smiling Dog Entertainment. We have an amazing group. I think we have 19 part-time staff now that work for us, and they are amazing. We get compliments on the job that they do at the rentals, like every time they go out. The people tell us what a great job, our staff did, and they do a tremendous job of representing the company and representing themselves, and providing an exceptional photo booth experience for the people that hire us. So,
Fantastic.
I think those are the things that kind of separate us from.
Oh, it's so much, and it's. And you're hitting it out of the park. I had other questions that are kind of right along those lines. What can couples expect? Again, rewind 2 minutes and there's your answer because it's fantastic. You guys are the real deal, are the whole package. And we're going a little bit over on this show. I knew we would because you have so much to offer and you have so many things that you do that's you're so good at and so amazing with. But I do want to get into your newest venture that you guys are launching just this year, right? And that's Occasions and Stems.
Yeah.
So, and it's, as I thought about it, because we were talking about this a couple weeks ago, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's just a perfectly natural transition, especially after hearing how you described everything about the photo booth into this kind of next level. So let's talk just a little bit about that, and then we're going to come back and we're going to do a whole show just on that. But I want to tease that a little bit. Tell us about your brand new Occasions and Stems.
So I'll back up just a little bit because you referenced this before. Pre-COVID, when we started getting the love letters and the lighted Mr. and Mrs. sign and stuff like that, we made a conscious decision that we were going to start trying to build out decor inventory that we could rent. And we focused kind of on bigger pieces. So we have the love letters, we have the Mr. and Mrs. sign, we have vintage ladders with wood planks that go across that people can use as their cake and cupcake stand. We have a hand-built barnwood door cake and cupcake stand that's made out of
Nice.
barnwood. Wraps around an old barn door that sits on whiskey barrels, that people can use for their cake and cupcake stand. So we started kind of focusing on bigger decor items. So with Smiling Dog Entertainment, we do have a lot of individual decor items that you can rent. We do have some, things in quantity where, like the cylinder glass candle vases that are really super popular right now. We have a couple hundred of those in different sizes and things like that. But mostly it's bigger, individual rental items. And, people that have been in the wedding buy sell trade groups before have maybe seen the fact that we post in there every once in a while that we're looking at buying, decor items and stuff like that to add to our inventory. And we did that last year around October or November. And an individual reached out to us and said that she had a ton of stuff, a ton of wedding decor that she was looking at selling, and she thought we might be interested in taking a look at it. And so we started a conversation, and it went on over a number of months, and it came to the point where she just said, well, I'm looking at selling my business. Would you be interested in buying the business? And, these are the moments that my wife dreads, that I will come to her and say, honey, I've got this really good idea.
Guess what?
Because I showed her one day on Facebook, I said, hey, look at this really cool camper photo booth. And she's like, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you love that? And I said 11. And she's like, I know we're going to end up with that. And I said, no, that's not true. And guess what? We have it. So I came to her and I said, hey, this individual contacted us, and they run a full service styling, decor setup, and takedown service. And they are wondering, if we would be interested in, buying that business from her. She wants to retire. And it also includes silk floral arrangements and that side of the business as well. And, we talked about it, and she said, it does perfectly complement the things that we do right now. It kind of expands our footprint in the wedding industry and helping us grow. So we bought the business. We are now the owners of Occasions and Stems.
Congratulations.
Laura, thank you. Laura, the individual who owned that business and ran it for a number of years, built an incredibly successful and wonderful business, and we're kind of taking from her and hoping to carry on her traditions and then build on that a little bit. And so like I said, we offer full service styling, setup, takedown services. So if you don't want to have to go out and get any of your wedding decor for your guest tables, your head table, your cake table, your card table, and all that stuff, we'll do a consultation with you. You can come in and tell us what your theme is, what your colors are, and we will pick out all the stuff that matches your colors and your themes. We will bring it to your reception venue. We will set it all up for you. At the end of the reception, we will come back and we will take it all down for you and take it away. So
they
you
literally
and your
have to
family
only
don't have to
show up and enjoy their day.
Yep, do anything. If you have started to secure, decor for your wedding, and you have like 50% of what you think you need, and you need the other 50%, we will do the other 50% for you and do the same thing, bring it all in and set it up around what you already have. If you have all of your decor and you don't want to have to enlist your family or yourself to set it up and take it down, you can contact us and we will come in and set it all up for you. And
even if they have all their own stuff, you'll send a team in and
Yep.
do all the setup for them.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, and all the takedown at the end as well. And then again, like I say, we have the silk floral arrangements as well. We can do boutonnieres, corsages, decor for the arch. You can rent the arch from Smiling Dog Entertainment and get the floral, arrangements to go on it from.
So when are you buying the venue?
Stems.
Is it time?
So they do complement each other very
That's
well.
awesome.
People could book occasions to do all of their table decor and everything, and then maybe they want the lighted Mr. and Mrs. sign to go with that from Smiling Dog Entertainment. Or so there's lots of synergies there and complements there, and we're excited to get into that and kind of take that next big step as well. And
That's
if
awesome.
I ever come home and tell my wife that I'm looking at buying a wedding venue,
Oh, you heard that.
I am afraid that I may be looking for a new place to live.
Might be living in the venue.
Yeah.
On the upside, you'll have lovely decor that you can enjoy in the venue.
Yes. My home will be very nicely decorated.
Oh man, this is awesome. So, two final questions. Number one, what's your favorite moment from a wedding, or in a wedding, or during a wedding? What's your favorite? Or let's make it a little bit more broad spectrum. At every wedding, what's your favorite moment?
In general,
Yeah, just in general.
generally it's when the bridesmaids and the bride all come to get their picture taken in the photo booth. And it can be when the groomsmen and the groom do that as well. I can think of 3 or 4 different, specific instances of the bridesmaids and the bride all coming in, right? There's so much energy usually when that group comes into the photo booth, and they're super happy and excited, and you can just feel it, right? You can feel how much fun they're having and everything, and how much they're enjoying that part of the day, or how much their joy for the whole day and their joy for the bride are translating into those pictures. One of my favorite all-time photos from the photo booth is of the groomsmen and the groom doing that in their photo. It's a combination of the clothes that they had on, their dress, and the backdrop and the picture, and just their energy. It's just one of my favorite photos. It's just like visually appealing. I remember the wedding. I remember everything about that wedding.
Awesome.
It's super cool. So usually it's when the bridal party comes into the to the photo booth. One of my most specific favorite memories, we did an enclosed photo booth at the Iowa Tap Room, which we've done a number of weddings there and love that venue. Great staff there and everything. Amazing to work with. We had an enclosed booth there. We had a black backdrop, which happens to be one of my favorite backdrops because it photographs so well. And this older gentleman, probably in his upper 70s, maybe early 80s, had a black suit on. I don't remember what color his tie was, but all dressed up. Not moving very, very quickly or anything. But he came over to use the photo booth all by himself, and he picked out a top hat. We have a black top hat. And he went in and he sat down in the photo booth, and he had this black top hat on and the black backdrop and black, suit and everything. We had the lighting set up so, you could differentiate the suit from the backdrop and the hat from the backdrop and everything. But he's just sitting there in the photo by himself. He's got his head tilted just a little bit. He's got this little wry smile on his face. And it's just an amazing photo.
That's cool.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a photo that you would take of somebody as a portrait, photo, right? And it's just, to me, it's such a striking image. I mean, this guy came over by himself. You could still tell that he was enjoying the moment.
Yeah.
And it just kind of gives me goosebumps. It's just like, it brings out the professional photographer in me, right? So that's one of my favorite moments and favorite photos.
I love it.
From the 6 years that we've been in the business.
I love it. That's awesome. Final question. Someone really, really, really wants to book you.
Yep.
They love you. They have been to wedding shows. They've seen you at weddings. They have been stalking you more than I did. These people really, really, really want to book you. They can't. You're booked up. There's nothing you can do to help them from Smiling Dog Entertainment. Solid wall. Nothing you can do.
I hate those moments.
I know, but they come up.
They do.
What do you tell them to look for in your competition or in other photo booths? Like I said, I'm not a big fan of the word competition because I think we're all kind of working the same direction here. But
Yep.
what do you tell them to look for in other professionals?
Well, that's another thing about being in the industry for a while. I've started to build relationships with other colleagues in the industry that are in Iowa, right? And I've learned of their work and know them. So, I mean, the first thing that I would do is specifically recommend other people.
So what are the
that
qualities in
that I
those people that you know
trust.
then?
So, I mean, I look for the type of equipment that they use, because while equipment isn't the most important thing in the photo booths, it can show you what the quality of the images that are produced is going to be like, right? So I kind of look at that. I go online and I look at their work, their galleries. Do they have galleries posted? I mean, earlier, I think before we started the show, we were talking about, some professionals that post 2 or 3 of their best photos ever on their website, and it's not indicative of their overall body of work, We have every gallery of every photo booth rental that we've ever done on our website or on our, our live online gallery page.
Awesome.
We've never taken a gallery down, even though we tell people that we will after 30 days. So anybody can go back and look. I mean, and if you really
This
want
time
to,
we mean it.
you can go back and you can look and you kind of see the progression of how we've gotten better,
Sure.
over the years.
That's kind of the history of your
Right.
of your business with that.
But so I go and I look at people's galleries. What are they providing to the couple? What's the output look like? Is it good output? Is it average output? Have I heard of these people before? Not to say that new people to the industry can't be good, because they can, absolutely.
Right.
But do I know them? Do they have a reputation? Have I heard of them before? Have I seen them before? Have I seen them at a wedding show before? Because I've seen a lot of people at wedding shows, and you can learn a lot about them. Those are kinds of the things that I look for. If you're a couple looking to hire somebody, you should ask them if they have insurance. Because frankly, from being in dozens of Facebook groups with photo booth professionals, there are a lot of photo booth professionals that do not carry insurance.
Right.
Are they insured? Do they show up? I mean, have they ever had to cancel a
Right.
booking? Okay. It's happened to us. It happened to us once. Okay. In 7 years, we had to cancel 1 booking. I did everything I possibly could to find somebody else to do that rental, and I was unable to do that. We've done it once, and I hate the fact that we've even done it once. Okay. And we did it not like last minute or anything. We did it a little ways out, but do they show up all the time? Because unfortunately, there are people within the wedding industry that
You don't know.
just drop you. Do they have backup equipment? When they show up for your job, do they have one of everything, or do they have backup equipment with them, so that when the powered USB hub that you plug the printer and the camera and the laptop into dies, that they can pull it out and put a brand new one in? Do they have a second, AC adapter so that the camera doesn't crap out and now you can't take pictures? Do they have backup equipment with them, or what happens? Ask them what would happen if one of their pieces of equipment failed.
That's good advice. Yeah, that's a good thing to look for.
What would you do? How would you do that? How would you react to that? How would you manage that situation?
Right.
Those are important things. See if they have reviews. Reviews can be tricky. I just had somebody, contact us that, said, I don't believe Google reviews. And I said, well, if you don't mind me asking, why? And she said, because there are businesses out there that will incentivize people to leave reviews, right? And so I don't believe that, I don't always trust that people left the review because they meant it. They left it to get the incentive, that was offered to them.
By the way, when we're done talking, can you give us a nice review?
Yeah.
I'd appreciate that.
Yeah, we got something with our review system, don't we?
We do have something.
Plug-
we've
plug that when
we've
you
actually
feel.
kind of factored that in on the listings for our vendors. What we've done with the reviews, it's kind of a similar kind of safety feature like that, going both directions, because there are also people out there that will be malicious, competitors or whatever, someone who didn't get their, you're closed, you're done, the venue's kicking people out, and you get the one drunk uncle who's like, I want to be in the photo booth, and you're like, I'm sorry, I can't, and they're right on there, this guy kills puppies, and it's this horrible review. So what we've built into the platform it's an accountability system and kind of a safety system. So when somebody leaves a review for any of our vendors on our stressfreewedding.com, two things happen. You're notified immediately, and so are we. And the reason we do that is if it is one of those kind of drunken uncle kind of reviews and it's absolute crap, in pretty much every other medium out there where you can leave reviews, that review is going to stay and someone's going to see it, and it could be filled with lies. It could be absolutely garbage. We had one that was left about us years ago for Ultimate Entertainment on Yelp. And if you did just a second of research, it was for a Tuesday. This wedding on a Tuesday, and it was like they slapped my mom. I mean, it was this god awful review. So I called Yelp, and I'm like, they're not in our database. I've never talked to these people. It's a Tuesday. I can't take it down, blah, blah, blah. And they eventually did, just because I raised enough hell with them. So what we've done is that when one of those kind of reviews come in, from our side, from the administrative side, we would reach out to you and say, hey, we just saw this review. Did you really slap the mom? And hopefully your response is no. If that's the case, and then we verify it, then we can look into it and dig deeper into it to make sure that it's, in fact false, that it's full of crap, and we can remove it. We want the best possible information, the best honest information we can. And if it's a great review, we're not out there eliciting reviews for you. People are going to leave them at their own volition. But there's that just a day in between where we are able to kind of capture and stop just in case something stupid comes up like that. And we do that for peace of mind for our vendors. If it's an honest negative review, just so people are aware as well, if someone slips by our filters, we end up with a DJ that, boy, he was great during the onboarding process and he was great during everything, and then we get this pile-on of negative reviews that we verify are, wow, these are not good. We will remove them from the platform. I have no problem at all taking somebody off that doesn't meet the standards that should be maintained at all time for somebody's wedding. So, reviews are hugely important. In fact, can we go to the webpage real quick, Andrew? So this is Smiling Dog Entertainment's site on the ourstressfreewedding.com platform. We've got all kinds of information that we, just after our conversation, we need to have a conversation about updating more stuff, because you have so much more to offer. But you can also learn more about them by going straight to their website. We want you to be as absolutely informed as possible when you are researching your vendors, so you can go right to their site. You can see all of their information right there as well. You can go to their social media. You can bring that up as well. You can go to their Instagram. You can bring that up as well. I'm a big fan of connections. The more connections that we can have to put your mind at ease as you're doing your research, the better information you're going to make, or the better decisions you're going to make for your big day. So that's what kind of ties all that in one place, right?
Yeah, and that's, what you just said goes also to something that I said earlier. I love it when people schedule a consultation call with us, right? Because they usually ask more questions. When we answer questions, it brings up another question, and they answer it. Again, we've gotten compliments from people on, thank you for taking the time to answer all of my questions, and it's like, do you know what? This is going to be a much better relationship if we're both on the same page across the board than if you think one thing and I'm thinking something different. I would rather take 15 minutes, 20 minutes, a half an hour or whatever with any person that wants to book us and go through everything so they understand exactly what the experience is going to look like for them. And if it works for them and that's what their vision is, and we're able to capture their vision and deliver their vision, and they want to hire us, then great. If they don't think that we see eye to eye, or that we're going to deliver exactly what they want, and they think there's somebody else out there that can better deliver that vision, I will be sorry that we weren't able to do that for them. But I would rather they find somebody that exactly meets what they want to have.
Right.
And it's so much easier to do that through a phone call. Right. You can get tons of information off of the internet, but you can get so much more information in such a shorter period of time by having a phone call or conversation with somebody.
If you are a registered couple on the platform, Andrew, can we go? Let me switch back to that real quick. So there we go. So let me bring that up. If you are registered on the platform, if you see up here, we've got these nifty little icons. If you're looking at Smiling Dog Entertainment on your mobile device, all you got to do is click that little button right there, and you're going to be talking to Shane. It's as simple as that. Because you're 100% right. It's communication. That is a giant part of everything. Hey, we could talk for hours. I know we could, because I have so many more questions. We're going to have you back on. We'll dig deeper into the new project, and we will dig deeper into even what you're doing, because I know by the time you and I talk again, there's going to be a whole new evolution of amazing things that you guys are doing. You have been an absolute pleasure to talk with Shane. I'm so glad we were able to schedule this time.
Thank you for having us, Sean.
Absolutely,
it was
man.
great. And you're right, we could talk for hours, because most of the time people can't get me to shut up. So.
Oh, I can. I got a volume control right back here for your mic. We can make you disappear like that. Couple final things. First of all, thank you so much for watching. We really, really appreciate it, as always. Hey, something that we don't really mention enough is, if you're watching this show on any media, maybe you found them through Smiling Dog's Facebook page, because they're going to share it as well, because I'm sure they liked and subscribed.
Right.
Do us a favor. Follow us on Facebook. We do have really good content on there. We share a lot of posts from our vendors on there. So it's a great way for you to get to know even some of the other vendors on the platform as well, that maybe you don't know of their Facebook pages. So we're kind of trying to help push their social media out as well. And you will learn a lot more about the show coming up, the Our Stress Free Wedding Show, vendor exclusive wedding show, November 20th at the Waterloo Convention Center at Sullivan Brothers Plaza, downtown Waterloo. It is an absolutely gorgeous facility. They've just done a multi-million-dollar upgrade. I think it's episode 3 or 4.
I want to say 4.
4, I think so. It had Don and Nora. That's 2 people. Don and Nora sounds like one person. Don and Nora from the convention center in on a show. We had a great conversation with them. It is going to be an amazing experience. We are doing everything we can to help make your day as absolutely stress-free as possible. It's what we do. OurStressFreeWedding.com. Find us online. Follow us on Facebook. Like and subscribe on YouTube. We have so many demands. Do all these things.
Keep an eye out for the TikToks.
Keep an eye out for the TikToks. Thank you, Andrew. Yes. As always, thank you so much for watching, and you have a stress-free day.